Nobody knows anything?
No.
Good evening. Welcome to the September 10th Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Pat, if you would call the roll.
Councilman Whalen. Councilman Standard. Councilman Romano.
Here.
Councilman Wallowitz. Councilman Barrett.
Here, and let's see, we don't have any minutes. Communications and announcements, a couple quick things. This weekend we have Farm Fest, and it's important that we support our farms during this very important fall season and throughout the year for those that have year-round business. But it's very important in general that we support our farms. Farm Fest is a way to kick off the fall season. And hopefully we have a nice fall like we did last year, where it was warm, a lot of dry days, and just a beautiful time to spend some time at the farms picking apples and partaking in everything that they have to offer. They remain a very important part of our economy. Agriculture is still the #1 segment of the economy in Saratoga County. So we just recently submitted 2 grant applications, partnering with 2 separate farms in the town of Clifton Park. We're hopeful, we believe those applications will score well, and there will be an opportunity to preserve 2 more working farms in the town of Clifton Park. So we'll, as soon as we hear on those 2 grant applications, it will be a while, but as soon as we hear, we'll let everybody know. But it's just part of our continuing partnership with the working farms and larger landowners in the town of Clifton Park. When the state started their lease of development rights program, which was brand new a couple of years ago, we immediately elicited support from any of the working farms that were interested, and we do have a couple in that program. We have the Conservation Easement Program, which is a big help to a lot of large landowners, and other ways that we partner with our farms and larger landowners to help them continue as they are, and at the same time preserve properties in this segment of our economy, our agrarian heritage, for many years to come. So that's our aim with all of these programs, and anytime there's new programs available, we're going to actively participate as long as we have landowners and farmers that are interested. Now, with those 2 grant applications, we've been able to secure commitments from the county for funds that will go toward the purchase of development rights. So between the funds from the state, the county, and we'll see how the appraisals come in and how the final numbers shake out, but we're very, very hopeful we'll be able to execute both grants and both agreements with those 2 working farms. Also, just a quick reminder, on the 7th of October, Shredding Day, our fall Shredding Day. So come out and participate. All we ask for the free service of shredding your personal or sensitive documents is some donations for the Jonesville Food Pantry. So we do it twice a year. Each time we're able to collect more than 1,000 pounds. It ranges anywhere from 1,100 to 1,500 pounds of non-perishable food items for the pantry, and I know that really helps them and their customers, especially heading into the winter. So even if you don't have anything to be shredded, come down and make a donation. We'd love to see you, and we want to thank 3N Document Destruction for volunteering their time and equipment that allows us to offer this service free of charge. We also have our Youth Court informational meeting coming up on the 26th. I'll let Mrs. Standard talk about that as we head into the 5th year of Youth Court.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We are entering into the 5th year of Youth Court, and it's going strong and it's going well, and I'm very proud of all of the kids that have been involved this far. And every year we kick off with an informational meeting as part of our recruitment process. This will be held September 23rd at the Shen High School Auditorium, 6:30 p.m. And it is for all interested kids and parents, kids grades 7 through 12. You do not need to be a Shen student, just a Clifton Park resident to be involved. And we welcome everyone to come to this informational meeting, learn about the program, learn what to expect, what it is that the Youth Court program asks of you, how it is that we help the community. And really, it's just an hour-long meeting, brief, but very informational and very good. We are also in the recruitment phase, as I mentioned, and we are currently accepting applications for kids 7th through 12th grade who are interested in becoming members or jurors. And there's lots of information on our website. You can also call or email me here at Town Hall, 371-6651, or astandard@cliftonpark.org if you have questions about the program. But we're really looking forward to kicking off our 5th year. We have a hearing coming up, and we got some really motivated, good, talented kids ready to go.
Good. Now, I'm very proud of the program, and as we go into the 5th year, I'm sure it'll be bigger and better. We have many new students involved in the program each and every year, and I'm sure this year will be no different. I actually have 2 more recruits for you, so we'll pass those names along.
Wonderful.
Anyone else? Yes, Ms. Smallwood.
As part of the Farm Fest celebration, Animal Control Officer Terry Cook and myself are once again presenting a project we call Fur Fest. This is a pet adoption clinic along with a few other special events. It's at Riverview Orchards on the 15th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're looking for a cat, dog, kitten, we will have a lot available. The county shelter will be there. We have rescue groups coming, and we have several kitten foster groups coming. So there'll be lots of available pets up for adoption, looking for forever homes. If you have a pet, we have a special $20 microchip clinic going on there at the event. We want to stress the importance of microchips. Sometimes our pets get away from us, and microchipping makes a huge difference in locating you and getting your pet safely back to you. We also have a professional pet photographer on the scene, along with a lot of other pet vendors. There'll be groomers and sitters and walkers and all kinds of other, I think, treats and a lot of other events there too. There's face painting for the kids. It's going to be a lot of fun. So stop by and see us, and maybe take home your new best friend.
So if you've always wanted to have a family photo taken with your pet, this is your opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
I called, I left
There
a
you
message
go.
with her because a couple of people asked about Christmas cards. She had a Christmas card
Oh.
background. So if any of you can get all of your children together at the same time with your pet, which is a feat into itself.
More the merrier.
Yes.
Very good. Hey Frank, how come you have so many papers over there?
I got a lot of homework.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's scary.
Sorry, Marlis, we have to cut you back to 20 minutes.
No,
Frank's got a
I'm
lot
going
of
to give him
paperwork.
some more papers.
All right, we do have several resolutions for consideration. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. Pat reminded me to mention that Thursday is primary day. It's not on Tuesday this year. Tomorrow is 9/11, so primary day is Thursday.
Noon to 9.
Okay. Resolutions.
A resolution recognizing the lifetime achievements and contributions of the 17th annual Lifetime Achievement Award honoree from Clifton Park, Patricia Lawrence. Whereas Patricia Lawrence, born in Dannemora, New York in 1928, has been a longtime resident of Clifton Park, who settled in the area with her late husband Howard, raising their 3 sons. And whereas since 1959, Mrs. Lawrence has served the community by playing piano and organ and organizing choirs at facilities such as St. Mary's and Crescent, St. Edward's Church, the Shenandoah Central School District, and Schuyler Ridge Skilled Nursing Center. And whereas Patricia Lawrence has also served on the PTA, been a church school teacher, and has personally provided care for at least 14 aged relatives and friends. And whereas Mrs. Lawrence was awarded the Volunteer of the Year Award in 1996 for her work at Schuyler Ridge, where she has continued to play the piano during weekly church services and for memorial services for the past 28 years. And whereas Mrs. Lawrence is an inspiration to all who know and meet her with a deep faith and willingness to volunteer her time and talents to help those in need. And whereas Mrs. Lawrence is also being recognized as a 2018 Senior Lifetime Award recipient by the Capital District Senior Issues Forum, that each year recognizes 40 honorees who represent the very best of their generation and demonstrate that a growing number of older adults are living active and fruitful lives at an advanced age. And whereas Town Board wishes to recognize Patricia Lawrence as one who has given of her time as a devoted and active member throughout her lifetime, now therefore be resolved that Patricia Lawrence is gratefully recognized by the Clifton Park Town Board on behalf of all the citizens of the town for her service to the community. A resolution authorizing Cheryl Reed, Chief of the Bureau of Fire Prevention, to attend the New York State Building Officials Conference, 26th Annual Capital District's Educational Conference, to be held in Albany, New York, October 15th through the 17th, 2018. Whereas conferences are designed to give their members the needed hours to complete the New York State 24-hour hours requirement for in-service education for all code enforcement officers per year in order to maintain their certification. And whereas the 2018 conference, sponsored by the New York State Building Officials Conference, is necessary for the acquisition of needed credits by building department officials. And whereas attendance at these seminars will provide a benefit to the residents of the town and is necessary to maintain building officials' credentials, now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes Cheryl Reed, Chief of the Bureau of Fire Prevention, to attend the 26th Annual Educational Conference from October 15th to the 17th in Albany, New York, at a total cost not to exceed $310 as budgeted from training and conferences. A resolution authorizing the Clifton Park Town Court to submit an application for a Justice Court Assistance Program grant. Whereas the Clifton Park Town Court wishes to acquire security cameras, battery backups for the computers, an iPad for interpreters and chairs, and whereas the Justice Court Assistance Program was established by the legislature to provide a means by which towns and villages may obtain limited state funding to improve operation of their justice courts, and whereas Honorable James F. Hughes and the Honorable Robert A. Ryback wish to apply for a grant for approximately $7,325 from the Justice Court Assistance Program to purchase the above-mentioned equipment to improve security and communications at Town Court. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board supports the efforts of Honorable James Hughes and Honorable Robert Ryback in applying for a grant totaling approximately $7,325 from the Justice Court Assistance Program, and be further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute all necessary documents in support of such efforts. Sorry. Get them clipped. A resolution awarding the contract for an aquatic plant harvester and trailer skimmer and depth finder for the town of Clifton Park and a transfer from contingency. Whereas sealed bids for the aquatic plant harvester and accessories were opened on August 29, 2018, and whereas We Do Greenboat Inc. of West Palm Beach, Florida submitted the lowest qualifying bid in the amount of $77,870 in response to the bid. And whereas Scott Reese, Stormwater Technician, has reviewed bid documents and finds the bid price to be reasonable and justified for the equipment involved, and therefore recommends awarding the bid to We Do Greenboat Inc. And whereas there are sufficient funds remaining in the 2018 contingency fund to offset the cost to the general fund for the, I guess that would be purchase. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board hereby awards the contract for the aquatic plant harvester, trailer, skimmer, and depth finder to We Do Greenboat Inc. as per the documents attached in an amount not to exceed $52,000 to be paid from Clifton Knolls Park District, Clifton Knolls Contractual General Maintenance, and $25,870 to be paid with a transfer from the contingency fund. resolution extending an intermunicipal agreement between the town of Half Moon and the town of Clifton Park for the provision of animal control service. Whereas pursuant to section 119-0 of the general municipal law of the state of New York, the parties are authorized to enter into binding agreements for the cooperative performance of various municipal projects, contracts, and functions. And whereas the towns of Clifton Park and Half Moon recognize the benefit to both municipalities that arise from the cooperative provision of such services to their residents. And whereas Resolution Number 15 of 2014 authorized an agreement between the town of Half Moon and the town of Clifton Park for shared services in the area of animal control. And whereas Clifton Park and Half Moon wish to extend an existing agreement whereby Clifton Park will provide an on-call and sick vacation coverage for the Half Moon Animal Control Department. And whereas Clifton Park has the personnel and equipment to provide on-call and sick vacation coverage for the Half Moon Animal Control Department, now therefore be resolved that the town board approves extending the intermunicipal agreement between the towns of Half Moon and the town of Clifton Park for the provision of animal control services per the attached agreement, and be it further resolved that the intermunicipal agreement between the towns of Clifton Park and Half Moon is hereby extended for the period commencing September 1st, 2018 through August 31st, 2019. Got it. A resolution authorizing the hiring of staff for the Clifton Park Action Park. Whereas an opening exists for an attendant at the Clifton Park Action Park, and whereas Milo Kramer, Director of the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs, has recommended that Christian Dobert be hired to fill the position. Now therefore be resolved that an authorization is hereby given to hire Christian Dobert, Appleton Road, Rexford, as an attendant for the Clifton Park Action Park, effective September 6, 2018 through October 31st, 2018, at step 1, $9 per hour to be paid from the Action Park staff. That's it.
Very good, thank you, Pat. Any questions on the resolutions? Okay, Pat, if you read the headings, and we'll consider each resolution individually.
Resolution number 213 of 2018, a resolution recognizing the lifetime achievements and contributions of the 17th Annual Senior Lifetime Achievement Award honoree from Clifton Park, Patricia Lawrence.
I move that we approve the resolution with a second by the board. Okay, Pat?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, and I want to say, Pat, Pat has done so much in this community for so many years. I wish I had her energy. Now, she's not here tonight because I'll be presenting this resolution at an award ceremony on October 10th. So I didn't want to circumvent that ceremony, which will be down in Albany, by having her here this evening. But we will invite her to a board meeting right after the ceremony on the 10th. So we're approving this resolution so I can present it to her. It's actually going to be at Congregation Beth Emmett at 100 Academy Road in Albany. So looking forward to celebrating Patricia's long time achievements. Okay, Pat?
Resolution number 214 of 2018, the resolution authorizing Cheryl Reed, Chief of the Bureau of Fire Prevention, to attend the New York State Building Officials Conference, the 26th Annual Capital Districts Chapter Educational Conference, to be held in Albany, New York, October 15th through the 17th, 2018.
So moved?
Second by Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Wayne. Anything to add here, Steve?
Just the last one for this year,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody will be caught up.
Good. Okay. Pat?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution 215 of 2018, a resolution authorizing the Clifton Park Town Court to submit an application for a Justice Court Assistance Program grant.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Romano, second by Ms. Wallowit. This was submitted by Judges Hughes and Ryback. Pat?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 216 of 2018, a resolution awarding the contract for an aquatic plant harvester and trailer, skimmer, and depth finder for the town of Clifton Park, and a transfer from contingency.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Standart, second by Mr. Romano. And why don't you come up, Marlis? We've been working with the Clifton Knolls Park District for some time.
24 years.
Well, it hasn't been that.
24 years.
No, I mean on this problem. Because, and it relates to the ponds in Clifton Knolls. Beautiful bodies of water as you drive through Clifton Knolls or play the golf course. These bodies of water have added a wonderful aesthetic view and beauty to the Clifton Knolls neighborhood for many, many years. And what's happened is that the ponds have become increasingly filled with weeds and algae growth that is accumulating on top of the ponds. Now, in past years, we were able to treat for this condition and do it in a, I would say in a sensible, cost-effective manner. Unfortunately, as regulations change, that the idea of trying to treat these ponds for this algae growth and weed growth is quickly becoming untenable. So, we decided to look at options. And one of the options was, and you can see a picture right here on top here, one of the options was a mechanical harvester.
No, I'm going to give you a copy.
And after reviewing all the options of controlling the weed and algae growth within these ponds, which I know is one of probably the top priority for the Park District and the folks that live in the Clifton Knolls area, it became increasingly obvious to us that the most cost-effective manner of containing the algae growth and the weed growth for the long term would be using the mechanical harvester. So we began to do some research, and I want to thank Marlis and her committee for conducting much of that research. And they were also able to set up a demonstration, and that was very helpful, I think, to see it firsthand. And so with that, I will ask you to give us your thoughts on the matter as far as your committee's concerned. And please use that, please bring that down, thank you.
I'm Marlis McGinnis, and I have to say, I met Mr. Bruin a few years ago, and he said, "There's no McGinnis in Clifton Park." And I said, "You're right. I'm really rooted." And he's with Jonesville Fire Department. "Oh, then you're okay," he said. So I'm really married to Charlie Rudick. See, I told you I'd get an okay. And anybody that doesn't know Charlie, he, by the way, designed the bike trails on the Cape Cod. So any of you that like open spaces, you're missing a true.
If you like the trails on the Cape,
He designed them, and
talk to Charlie.
he knows what he's doing.
That's right.
He knows what he's doing. So anyway, he's also an engineer. All my husbands are engineers.
Only one at a time.
One at a
All
time.
right. Just want to make sure that, get that on the record. I mean, we are being taped here. So,
Oh, good,
yeah.
good. I may need that. So in the packet I just gave you is a cover memo from Loretta Parsons. She's on our committee, and she wrote a beautiful explanation of why we need a harvester. And I thought, rather than we all stand up and read pages, give you a quick, and you can take these home and you study, because we've had lots of conversations in this town about the ponds. And the ponds are a problem. And I included a letter from 1996. I moved here in transferred here in 1991. And in 1993, a lady by the name of Ruth Sweetser came to my door,
Hmm.
and all the old timers knew who she was, and she said, "We need help with our ponds. And we need somebody that lives on the ponds to do something about the ponds, and we need this." And the park districts were getting organized at that time with Roy Speckert. I'm bringing up old name names for you, right? And so when I went on the board, Olga Padusas, okay, she wrote us the report of a century. And we've lived with this report forever, and I gave you all a copy because I think you should all have it. She told us exactly what we should have, what we should do, what is needed, what we shouldn't do. And unfortunately, we only had her until 1999. And, but she was very helpful to us, and she gave us all the ideas of, at that time, we could use the chemicals. So we were using chemicals, and they were costing $40,000 to $60,000 a year. And we collect taxes, and so we were staying even, but we couldn't save a lot of money because it was costing us to stay afloat. But, okay, we did that. Then, I have a wonderful letter from Scott Reese. And he wrote a nice letter saying what's going on at the town, that they're doing all this construction up at the town center. And this is where all the pond is, the stormwater is going. All into the basements of Par Del Rio. And, and so.
I don't think so.
So we gave
I don't think Scott's professional opinion was
I approve.
the
So,
water's going into the.
so we had,
We did have some issues with water in basements in Par Del Rio,
We did.
which is why the town invested $100,000 so we could regulate the ponds better.
see, I told you I'd get you organized here.
And so we solved that problem because, believe it or not, the level of the ponds dictated whether some people within Clifton Knolls had water issues with their basements,
That's right.
is what we learned.
Yes.
But that was years ago. That was
Well,
a long
so,
time ago.
anyway, we
But
had,
anyway, there are drainage corridors. This is what you're leading to. There's drainage corridors that lead toward the ponds, okay,
and the golf course.
and then head down to the, well, that's where one of the ponds is, and then go down into the Stony Creek Reservoir. Yes, so it's part of the whole drainage corridor within the town.
But we didn't tell those builders that the Stony Bridge is Latham water drinking water.
Well, no, it's a reservoir. It's a classified reservoir, which is part of the issue with the, even though it's never been used for drinking water, and I don't believe Colony has any plans to use it for drinking water, but it is designated a reservoir, and because it's designated a reservoir, it constrains how the town can treat the ponds that lead to the Stony Creek Reservoir. So that is part of the issue.
That's right.
As far as stormwater, looking at it holistically within the Exit 9 area, there's been many steps taken with the redevelopment of many of the properties to contain the stormwater more effectively on site and make sure that it's released in a proper manner. In addition to upgraded stormwater with redevelopment, there's also been another large project behind the Price Chopper that was undertaken by a private entity, not the town, that went a long way to help the stormwater situation and the issues that we had through the Bear Brook and down to Bruno Road. So in all, these improvements over the years have greatly improved the stormwater situation within Exit 9 and therefore the tributaries downstream.
Aren't I a good coach right here?
I tell you, you're Ed McMahon. You're the
That's
straight
right.
man.
So, we still have, we had so many problems though with the Hannaford construction, that we did have extra algae at
The
the start.
Hannaford construction?
Yeah.
That was in the 80s.
The pond.
Hmm.
The Miller.
Well, they put in that huge stormwater pond there next to the Hannaford, but that was a long, long time ago. But anyway,
So
the harvester,
the harvester
yes,
is where we're getting to.
right.
So first we wanted to tell Sven about the many. Last year we said no, we couldn't find this harvester. It wasn't invented at that point. We didn't have it at that size.
Mhm.
So we went to aeration. And we did a full study of aeration.
Mm.
And aeration for the Barney Road Pond and not the upper pond, but just, and was $100,000 for just one pond. And for the golf course side for Phil, it would have been $50,000. And that was our first round. So we were spending $150,000 first round, and we weren't getting the whole job done.
Well, and I should add, a big part of the issue too is those ponds are very shallow, so sunlight gets to the bottom of the ponds, and that also adds to the algae growth and weed growth as well.
And it was only PVC piping. It was nothing dramatic. And so before that, we had put in a little bubbler over it, right by the spillway, and see, okay, let's try a little bubbler and see how that works for a year. Well, this little bubbler filled with algae and sank. We got absolutely nowhere with it. But we tried. We said, okay, we'll try.
Sure.
And okay, we then have to go to the $100,000 plan. And that just seemed like a lot for one pond.
Mm.
And $50,000 for the golf course. That just seemed like a lot for a starter price.
Well, we also had difficulty with finding somebody that would do it.
When we found somebody, but then Scott went and I gave you a copy of his cost estimates versus chemical. It's expensive, and it just was going to be out of control. So I met Ann Conley on the neighborhood watch plan. She said, I want to do a neighborhood watch because we've got a little drug issue here in the Knolls. And will you join the neighborhood watch? And I said, I will, because I'm from the Park District, and you can help me with the ponds. That's how this whole thing started. And she said, okay, and she went looking for weedoos.
Yeah.
And so we've got a weedoo,
Which has nothing to do with drugs.
which has nothing to do with drugs.
Nothing to do with it. When I said weed harvesting, it was the weeds in the pond.
That's right.
Yeah.
No illicit drugs were
But our
contemplated in my comment.
but our neighborhood watch now has 800 and some members, and we're drug free.
Good.
You can be drug free in the Clifton
All
Hills.
right, well, let's talk about these weeds.
These weeds.
Yeah.
So we took it. We asked for the young man to come up here to give us a demo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice size. It's only like 15 feet long. And I offered to have a demo tonight on the film, but I heard that you didn't think we needed it. But it's a cute little thing. And we need some trained people
Right.
to get in there, scoop it up. Last month we bought a Bobcat.
Mhm.
So once it's scooped up on the side, they can scoop it up, put it on trucks, and haul it off around town.
Well, what they'll do is they'll harvest the weeds. And we're talking weeds. This isn't like your garden weeds. Then they're laid on shore and dried, and then they'll be taken away and put in the compost pile. So that'll be the weed process.
And hopefully, we will finally make some progress. Finally.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely make some progress because as well as harvesting the weeds that are below the water, this piece of equipment can also skim the algae along the top of the water. That will certainly help with the, because I know Loretta was in her letter talked about, and we've heard from other residents, odor and unsightly, so it's an odor situation. It's not aesthetically pleasing, and just from an ecological standpoint, these ponds will be in much better health if we are able to successfully solve this issue.
And our goal is if we can really do all the ponds and Par del Rio and the golf course, and everything done in 2 or 3 years, we can rent out this machinery with an operator at $300 an hour for the machine and $300 an hour for the person.
Mm.
So we can make back our money on it and hopefully get some of our money back on it. So
Well,
it's-
that's something that we can
That's-
discuss, but there might be some other alternatives that where this machine could be helpful to the town. So, so all in all, there's been quite a bit of research here from Marlis, and what I've sent you in the past. There's been quite a bit of research on this item, and when compared to the other alternatives, from a cost standpoint and efficiency standpoint, I think this option is the best before us.
And we may have to come to you again and buy a smaller boat to go underneath the golf course bridge because the WeDo won't be able to go under that and to help.
Well, that's the
Stand there.
submarine, right?
That's the Conley submarine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so that's our next plan, but we're not there yet, so we'll come back. You won't get rid of us. We're gonna keep
Oh, God,
hammering
I
at
wouldn't
you.
think of it.
We're gonna keep
I wouldn't
hammering
think
at you until we get this done right. But it's been a long time. I mean, we've been working on this for 24 years, and we're finally getting to a spot where we're gonna do something.
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. I mean, there's been treatments over the years, and it has been much better than it is today. It's just that those treatments are no longer cost effective,
They're not allowed.
right? So,
Yeah.
well, you can, it's extremely expensive. The cost is skyrocketed if you can get it done at all. Between the permitting process and finding a contractor that is willing to go through the permitting process. I mean, that was part of the issue, right, Scott?
Correct.
So
That's where we're at.
so hopefully we can, this piece of equipment will allow us to improve the ponds to maybe where they were a few years ago, which will be a huge improvement to where they are today. Wouldn't you say?
I would say, and the people at the golf course complain chronically about the odors. They say it's awful, and there's nothing we can do. We keep saying we can't do chemicals, we can't do this, we can't do that, and we're working on it. We've been saying that,
Oh, yeah.
and here we are. And I think we're there. I think we're going to try something that we can see that will make a difference.
All right, very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Any, oh, sure, yeah. Any comments, questions? I know you've had some information on this. Tidbits, obviously, more this evening. We had a wide-ranging discussion about Clifton Knolls and challenges that we're making progress on. But anything you want to add, Scott?
No, I think this is the best option that we've looked at over the last 4 years, so I think it's a good direction for us to go in.
Yeah, and it's certainly far different than anything that we've done tried in the past.
Right, I think it'll be beneficial, to the state permitting, that part of it, to also benefit for quick reaction and solution to the residents they're looking for.
Yeah, because the permitting for this option is very simple.
It's already been approved.
Right. So I mean, we received approval in what, 2-3 weeks, maybe.
Around that.
Yeah. So the permitting for the mechanical harvest, because when I say permitting, I mean from DEC. I mean we have to be granted a permit to do any work at all in or around the ponds. So we were able to get a permit within 3 weeks for this option, which is the mechanical harvesting. the other options, such as chemical treatments, as we've done in the past. I'm not sure a permit is attainable. And if it is, it's, like we said, the expense is prohibitive. All right. Very good. Yes, please.
So who operates it? Do you need a licensed operator?
Well, first, we're gonna have the supplier, we do come up
Okay.
and provide the training. And there, Dan Clemens from Buildings and Grounds has offered a couple of his staff that has boating experience to be trained in the operation. But the owners that, it's a joystick type of operation, so it's something that can teach, while he's just delivering it.
Yeah, Dan and I have had that discussion, so he will be trained as well as two other members of the Buildings and Grounds staff.
So you'll be the Commodore.
Captain. Captain, we're gonna get him a captain hat. Yes, Bev, would you like to be trained as well? Oh, okay.
I know this thing is self-propelled, but you're gonna need something to move it from one property to another.
Correct.
Okay, so you're gonna need to buy a trailer.
It comes with a trailer.
It comes with a trailer.
Correct.
Just making sure.
We can come over and cut your lawn with it, too.
Been doing it for years.
Now, we also have the We Do mats. We were just talking with Scott tonight.
Yeah,
The mats are for launching,
right.
and they have to be trained when they're up here, how to launch this thing and not to tear up the property around it
Mm-hmm.
and not run into a lot of trees that are already buried in the ponds.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to have to be really careful.
Oh, yeah.
So we need boating insurance. Put that on your list high, please,
Mm-hmm.
so that nobody wrecks this thing. And it's a high price, I think, if we don't know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, very good. Any further questions? Or?
I have a question.
Oh, yes,
Is
Rick.
this gonna clear up the murky water? It's not gonna clear that up, is it? I mean, the water's still, you're gonna do weeds, but it's not gonna do.
Well, it's not going to
anything.
turn it into a Caribbean. Ocean
it'll
front,
still be
but,
murky, and it's not gonna get rid of the odor or that, you'll be just start taking the weeds out, which are gonna come back, but I'm just saying that.
Well, the odor is caused by the algae growth and the excessive algae growth, and the weeds underneath the water add to the issue of that problem.
That fish there, and it's like a awful, like a hair, I don't know what it's called, in the water. It's very thick, and it's like a green, almost like pea soup.
Yeah,
The
right.
water.
Right.
I don't know if it's gonna take that out, you're gonna pick weeds. But I saw the thing on the video, how that operates. If you
Mhm.
dig it on one side of the pond, you're gonna have to turn around and take it all the way, wherever you're gonna dump it, because you can't dump it where the trees are or anything, right? You have to take it at a central location.
With the application, we showed where the unloading zones were going to be, so that was thought about, and also talking with the DEC, they were concerned, when you do harvest the weeds, but you have two different methods. One is that you have a skimmer that skims to the top is a small enough filter where it'll filter out the duckweed and the water, so it's small enough to be able to pick that up. Now, if we had, it does come along with a cutter to cut some of the weeds, if those are more of the issue. But both with the DEC, they're just concerned about when you do that, and because there is certain types of fish habitat that they don't want you to stir up the bottom of the pond too much, to create it. So there's thought on when that was going to be done and how much that was going to be taken care of. So that is also planned out.
You look at other communities to see that have used this device. I know Saratoga Lake has two of them,
Yeah.
but they're a continuous operation.
Well, this isn't Saratoga Lake.
Yeah, I know, I understand that, but who else is using this type of machinery to see how, effective it is? I don't know.
I met several times with Saratoga National Golf Course Management, and where they have their own weed harvesters, because they do Lake Lonely, as well as their ponds on them. So I spoke with him extensively on his experience, dealing with weeds and dealing with the floating algae, how they keep their ponds clean. So again, through thorough research, we've looked at a lot of the angles here and can answer any other questions that they may have if they're interested in coming up to the planning department and talking with me. I'd be happy to answer some other questions on it.
So they have a harvester too then?
Yes, they actually have
Good.
Yeah, well, like quite a bit larger.
Yeah, it was larger. Actually, we were going to try to borrow it, but it's too large for our ponds.
Yeah. Very good. Any other questions from the board? Okay. Pat?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Standar?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 217 of 2018, a resolution extending an intermunicipal agreement between the towns of Half Moon and the town of Clifton Park for the provision of animal control service.
So moved. Second?
Moved by Ms. Wallowitz, second by Mrs. Standar. We've initiated this agreement with Half Moon a few years ago, and it's worked very well. It's a way for the two communities to share services. So we will respond to calls in the town of Half Moon when personnel are sick or on vacation. We provide weekend coverage, which is generally considered 8 p.m. on Fridays to 8 a.m. on Mondays. And in return for the service, Half Moon pays Clifton Park the amount of $35 per hour when responding, plus the federal government mileage reimbursement rate while they are responding to the call and back to town. So it's worked out very well. Some of our part-time animal control officers have been able to garner more hours, and the town of Half Moon has been able to supplement their animal control staff in a cost-effective manner by partnering with the town of Clifton Park. So it's worked well for a few years, and we'd like to continue it. Any questions, comments? Okay, Pat?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Standar?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 218 of 2018, a resolution authorizing the hiring of staff for the Clifton Park Action Park.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Whalen, and getting into September here, so not a lot of time left for the skate park, but bringing on somebody new to finish out the year. Okay, Pat?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Standar?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. Other business before the board, anything? Okay. Go to public privilege. If you'd like to speak on a town matter, please raise your hand. We'll ask that you come forward. State your name and address for the record, and please keep it to 5 minutes or less. Are there any takers this evening? Yes, sir. Come on up, please. Please.
There, I'm not a speaker, but.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I was in your office and spoke to your secretary, and,
Oh, okay.
issue with, speed limits on, Kins Road.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have your name
45
and address, please?
Oh, Robert Schneider, Schneider. What else you need?
Kings Road, is that your address?
16 Temple Hills.
Oh, Temple Hills, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And after I was in your office, I received this here in the mail. My wife tried to rip it up before I got to see it, but maybe you want to look at it, see if it came from you guys somehow.
Came from us?
I don't know. It came in my mail, and it was after I visited you guys.
Mm.
It says 5,000 people are in on it and all this stuff here. And, but anyway, I live just before the Northway, and we had a truck roll over a couple weeks ago, garbage truck, and it came over because a girl pulled out of Twilight Drive. And the truck went around it, rolled, and said that was the evasive action other than trying to hit the girl. And I don't know if tickets were issued and stuff, and County Waste is notorious for flying up and down there. And we had a neighbor that went through you guys and had the sidewalk connecting Temple Hills with Twilight. He's long gone.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Peck.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Neighbors, you know, we get to meet more neighbors and more trick-or-treaters.
Good.
Usually I have one or two, and now I get up to a dozen, so I'm good.
Good.
But I'd like to see something. We moved in here in '96, Republican, and we took in.
Were you asked that before?
Well, no. Just let you know. And I wasn't too light in Colony, so. I've been to DOT up on Middle Grove Road as far as the speed limit ever since then, and talked to Keith Mans
Yeah.
up there, who farmed it out to a guy named Bill Bonsky, Vince Bonsky or something like that, senior investigator. I asked to meet with him because, number one, the shoulder there is like beach sand, and that's kind of why the guy rolled. It flipped the truck onto the sidewalk, and there was a couple guys from County Waste that were there and told me, oh yeah, we see you out there with the wife and the dog all the time and different people. I says, I've been asking somebody, I started with them, a guardrail or something to protect us, because speed limits are out of sight on that road, and it's a shortcut. And the woman says on her GPS they use Kins Road as a shortcut rather than try 146 or anything else. So I talked to this Bill, and I asked him, he was going to be there twice to look at the pavement and the shoulder and stuff. Never called me, said he didn't find it was an issue to talk to me. I wanted to show him, you know, what it was like. I said, sit there for an hour and do a speed limit check on it. And then my other issue was when they put the bridge in, I used to be able to see the Route 9 with the old bridge. And one of the guys that was a volunteer said they arched the bridge for something, for Fort Drum, some tank or something like that, a once-in-a-lifetime deal. They had to raise it from 14 to 18 feet. And that's why the bridge is arched. You don't see anything until you're out halfway into the road. And then it's either skid marks, horn, or somebody trying to pass you on a double line as you're coming out of your development. We've had a couple accidents due to
Who
it.
told you it was raised because of Fort Drum?
It was one of the volunteers, he's 76 years old, from the fire department. And he's been around, and he knew that's why it was there. So, but with that arch in there, you don't have a promise making a left out of there going west. So
No, but,
nobody can do anything with that.
Yeah, I think there's other overpasses on
Well,
87
according to
that
him,
are
all the
lower
way
than
up.
that, so I don't know.
All the way up, it's supposed to be that way. Now, that's what he gave for an excuse. I didn't get anything
Well,
from.
yeah.
So I talked to your secretary, and I says, can we do something, lower the speed limit or whatever? And she got a speed sign put up. I know they do it over in Half Moon. And I've noticed Middle Line Road and stuff like that, they have those speed limit signs with the flashing and stuff. And reaction I've gotten from people is, oh, that's all I'm doing? I can go faster, you know. Real smart remarks instead of taking care of the problem. So what I'm asking is...
People are telling you this?
Yeah, people were telling me this.
How did they get up?
People living
Your
along
neighbors?
the road and stuff like that, and people that have lived like off of Middle Line Road or Middle Line Road that goes up to that DOT. They mentioned that it had been up there. There was a farm that had it put before and after his farm up there. I guess Elms Farms is going to buy the
Oh,
property.
you're talking about a sign they put somewhere else?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. We don't have any here, I don't think, in Clifton Park. And they got a real nice one over by the high school off of Pine Hill that actually is apologetic. You know, if you're below the speed limit, it says thank you, and if you're going too fast, it tells you to slow down. But
Oh, we have a couple in town, not nearly as polite as that, but...
no, that's the first one. and it's solar and all this stuff. The guy up there told me, he says it's not solar town up there. They have a battery operated back to it and all this stuff.
Yeah, right.
Well, what I'm asking is, can you do something with, according to DOT and this Bill guy here and Keith Mans,
Well, they're from the county. Kins is a county road, yeah.
I couldn't get a straight answer out of them. Nobody wants to go for a guardrail to protect, because the sidewalk is real close there.
Mm-hmm.
And they fly through there well over 50, 60 miles an hour going through there. And there was a cop on the scene, and I told him, I says, can't you do radar to kind of deter the traffic down a little bit? He says, well, there's a business across the street from our development, AMT. I think it's AMT. He says, we can't park in the development. I says, we'll park in our development. He says, well, if I do that, they'll see me. That was the reaction I got from the cop. So that was a pretty stupid thing. I said, okay, yeah, that'll make them slow down, you know, and then you get an idea for us pulling out of development. Can you do something? The only thing I can figure now is lowering the speed limit down. I know they do it on Main Street down to 30.
Yeah,
Now
it's
you
been 30
get
for
that-
a long time. We're gonna raise it by, by Frank's house on Main Street. It's been 30 for a long time.
Yeah,
They don't go 30, they pass me in a double line here when I go 30,
well, the cop told me, his name was Mike, and a deputy sheriff, and he says to me, he says, it's average 45, 55, you know?
Yeah.
And this,
Well, it always looks faster than it is, but, you know,
well,
speed.
we don't have anybody that'll, you know, entertain the thought, and I'm not gonna go door to door to find out anything, and then I got that thing after I'd been in your office, and
Well,
my wife ripped it right up, and said, don't you get involved in that.
That's social,
Snyder, thank you very much.
that's social media stuff. That's what that is.
5 minutes are up. Thank you
Oh,
very
okay.
much.
That's
Speed limit.
social
Can
media.
we work on the speed limit?
Well, I can talk to Keith and the county and see what they, I mean, they gotta go through a process to lower the speed limit, just like we would, so.
Well, the guy from DOT says, if they do 45, he says, you'll be able to get out of your development. Well, that's why I'm asking it, because nobody does 45, so. Anyway, okay, thank you.
Well, that is, yeah, because it's downhill too. Now, there's been an increase in the traffic in that stretch of Kins Road,
Plus you got the
mainly due to
industrial
the
park.
school. No, it's not really the industrial park, it's more the school
Well,
and
once
the
I-
traffic from Half Moon, because they've had a lot of development in that area of town, so they cross Farm to Market over Route 9, come to Kins. And we actually had to put up I worked with the county to get a left turn signal at Kins and Plank, because with school traffic, morning and afternoon, particularly in the afternoon, I think in that direction, it was backing up on Plank because of the increase of the traffic coming from Half Moon down to the school and back. So that's
Well, if you could just entertain that thought, because
Yeah,
that
oh, yeah.
industrial park that's going from 9 to 10 along Route 9 there, that new development or whatever
Mhm.
that's going in there, and it'll be another shortcut from exit, probably from exit 10 to Kings Road.
Do you want your
It's
social
more
media?
traffic.
Do you want your social media invitation back? You might be missing something.
Does anybody, on my street, I was the only one that got it after I went to your meeting. Nobody knows.
Well, you know, we keep lists of people that enter town hall,
Is that a street?
and we have a special secret website and Nextdoor app,
Well,
and
where did it come from?
so we looked you up and sent you an invitation. No, I'm just kidding. I
Do
have
you recognize that street, Timber Terrace? Is that in your?
Timber Terrace. Yeah, that's over off.
It's in Malta.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where
Timber
it came
Terrace.
from. They didn't have my name when I.
no, it says CKS neighbor, 16 Temple Hills. That's where you live.
Yeah, but I mean in the letter on the inside.
Temple Hills neighbors.
But there is a Linda, or there's a name, like a first name.
Well, so you get a picture of a doggy and a basketball and some stick figures.
About halfway down.
Lavina Williams, Timber Terrace. Yeah, Timber Terrace, it's over by, yeah.
And I had to react within so many days for that that website
Oh,
was supposed
yeah.
to be private and all this.
No, it's social media.
Okay. Well, nobody on my street got one, so I was like.
Well, I
I
assure
was
you,
good, I guess, you know.
I assure you it wasn't from I. I don't go on any of these sites, I don't know,
Well-
I'm not affiliated with any
If
of
you
them.
don't take it now, it'll be in tree and recyclables, appropriate.
I'll take care of it for you.
Thank you.
All righty.
It was out of state on top of it, some zip code I never heard of on it. It's not even from Clifton Park. Look at it, it's a stamp and it's 5-3 something, the stamp mark on it. The whole thing stunk, and I just, the wife.
Mailer's postmark permit, which one was, yeah, I don't know. Not sure.
All right. You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Bill.
You bet. Okay.
No one else? Frank, you're not gonna talk?
No?
Okay.
Nothing
Who
on
wants to
television.
adjourn?
Okay. You look busy tonight.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Standar?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you.